the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
One of the top offensive line prospects in the 2025 NFL Draft just sent a clear message to the Chicago Bears and the rest of the NFL. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So, Bears fans, I wanted to come on here really quick to share something quite interesting in regard to one of the top prospects in the 2025 NFL Draft. And as we know, the NFL Draft is now less than a month away, and Ryan Poles and the Bears are busy trying to finalize their final draft board going into next month, the 2025 NFL Draft. They're currently going on pro days, scheduling top 30 visits, all that good stuff. So they are prepared to bring in the best players possible to the Chicago Bears organization. And one player that has been really popular among mock drafts, among Bears fans, analysts, is LSU's left tackle, Will Campbell. And we have had so many different conversations about Will Campbell, but the concerns about his arm length have a lot of, GMs and organizations concerned if he can actually succeed playing the left tackle position in the National Football League. And recently at LSU's Pro Day the other day, Will Campbell was asked about his ability to actually play the left tackle position at the next level. And he stated that he believes that he can handle the position. And then he sent a clear message to the entirety of the National Football League, and this is just not including the Chicago Bears. This is a message that sent shockwaves through the internet, and I'm pretty sure that the Chicago Bears or any team picking within the top 10 definitely heard this message. Check this out, Bears fans.
You as a prospect.
For 2 years, nobody had any measurements on me, and nobody said anything about my play. So now all of a sudden, an arm length decides if I'm a good player or not. I think it's BS. But any decision makers in the NFL, they don't really care. It's all, people who don't coach, and they don't coach for a reason.
Bears fans, first and foremost, really good for Will Campbell. He's always transparent, always really candid during his interviews. I've always loved, first and foremost, the type of person that Will Campbell is and the type of confidence that, he possesses and just how he approaches the game. You can just tell he has a lot of respect for the game, and he's passionate about the game. So I don't think this message should rub any organizations the wrong way. I'm pretty sure it's frustrating that he keeps hearing about his arm length and how he's not going to succeed in the National Football League. And of course, we're going to get into this later on today's episode of Keek on the Mic, because arm length does matter in regard to being successful in the National Football League. We have seen a lot of really good left tackles in college that it just didn't translate to the National Football League due to their arm length. Maybe Will Campbell will be a little bit different, but right now there still is those concerns about his arm length and if he can transfer to a really good left tackle in the National Football League. First and foremost, Bears fans, I want to say this about Will Campbell. Absolutely love him as a prospect in this year's NFL Draft. I think he is an outstanding football player. I think he's going to have an outstanding NFL career, whether it's at left tackle or guard. I think he's going to be a very good player, and whoever's able to draft this kid, I think is getting a really, really good player in Will Campbell. He's 6'6", 319 pounds, ran a 4.98 40-yard dash, so definitely has a lot of athleticism to him. He measured in at 32 and 5/8 inch arms at the NFL Combine. There was actually some good news at his pro day the other day. He measured in at 33 inch arms. So just to put some perspective on this, Penei Sewell, the star right tackle for the Detroit Lions, measures at 33 and 1/4 inch arms, right? So just not too really far off there. So obviously him having 33 inch arms is definitely a big difference from 32 and 5/8. So maybe that could help his cause in regard to possibly playing left tackle in the National Football League. He still has short arms, don't get me wrong, but that definitely helps him out a little bit, right? But when you look at Will Campbell, Bears fans, brings nasty finishing attitude in the run game, technician in the pass protection, great footwork, possesses elite recovery ability. Once again, really, really good athlete as well. High football IQ, high character guy, as you see in that call out video to the NFL, right? Drafting. He is technically refined blocker who could really start from day one. The question that Ryan Poles and the rest of these NFL teams have to ask themselves when they're looking at Will Campbell is, can we actually afford to take that risk? And I'm talking about the Chicago Bears, because once again, no one is saying that Will Campbell is not an outstanding player and that he can probably help you on the football field and be a day one impact player, right? But can the Chicago Bears afford to take that risk? Because here's the thing. If Ryan Poles is going to take Will Campbell with a top 10 pick, the expectation is that we're taking him to be the new left tackle of the Chicago Bears. I don't see a world where we take him number 10 overall and then making him compete for the left tackle spot over Braxton Jones. And I know we've had a lot of talk and discussions about Braxton Jones. If I am investing in a top 10 left tackle in the NFL draft, he is my day one starter. I think my concern is for Ryan Poles is that you take this guy, you test him out at left tackle, and if it doesn't work, he slides in to the guard position, which I think most people will say, well, Keek, that doesn't really matter. But I truly think it does, because you are drafting him to be the left tackle, not a guard. I know we could talk about Joe Thuney being 33. We could talk about Jonah Jackson being 28, coming off some injury concerns last season, but we are trying to possibly find a new left tackle. So I don't know if Ryan Poles is going to be willing to take that risk that, hey, it may not work out, and we may have to slide him in the guard. I don't think Ryan Poles is looking to draft a guard with the top 10 pick, but I could also be wrong. But once again, I understand Will Campbell's concerns, right? And I love that passion from him, that he's starting to get annoyed by random people, random media guys, talking about his arm length, that he won't be able to succeed in the National Football League as a left tackle. So I understand that he just has a lot of passion and respect for the game, and it can get frustrating at times. But we have to remind ourselves that arm length does matter when you're playing the left tackle spot in the National Football League. You look at guys like Peter Skoronski, who was an All-American left tackle in college, but plays guard in the National Football League due to his shorter arms. Zach Martin, All-American left tackle in college, became a Hall of Fame level guard in the National Football League. Those are just many different examples of arm length does matter. Just because you were good at the position in in college doesn't mean it will always translate to the National Football League. Once again, I will give Will Campbell his respect. Maybe he is just on a different level. Maybe he, even with shorter arms, maybe it does translate to the NFL level. Maybe he does become one of the first players with sort of shorter arms, right, that can translate well and still be a very good left tackle in the National Football League. It's just a question if Ryan Poles and the Bears want to take that risk. Once again, outstanding player, but the arm length issues could be a concern. I'm going against a different type of level of edge rushers and D tackles in the National Football League. Everyone understands that college is a completely different ballgame when you're going into the National Football League. So you got to take that into factors as well. Same question is when you're talking about quarterbacks, right? When quarterbacks are too short or they have smaller hands, right? That can be a concern for quarterbacks. And you can find many different other examples as well for different position groups when you're going through your progressions and then just seeing what you were looking at in these different athletes, right? So it is a real concern, right, for Will Campbell. And once again, I think whoever drafts him, I'm just going to get an outstanding player. I think, Will Campbell is going to be high on Ryan Poles and the Bears draft board. I think if a guy like Ashton Jeanty is not there and Will Campbell is there at 10, maybe the Chicago Bears do take a risk. And if they do take the risk, I would be okay with that because I love everything about Will Campbell. Once again, character is great. He brings a lot of passion to the game. He plays with a nasty edge. He's athletic, right? Just a technician in terms of pass protection. And then we would have to see how it plays out with his shorter arms. But the history and the odds of him being successful with his arm length is definitely against him. I'm just looking at the history of the people before him. Once again, I wish him nothing but the best. If he does become a Chicago Bear, I would be very ecstatic. But we just have to see what Ryan Poles and the Bears think about him. So, Bears fans, first and foremost, how do you feel about Will Campbell's call out and just sending a clear message to the teams that are potentially interested in him and maybe concerned about his shorter arms in the National Football League? week? And also, would you guys be okay with with Ryan Poles and the Bears taking Will Campbell with the number 10 overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft if he is there for the Bears taking? Let me know down below in the comment section. But as always, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for an all new Bears podcast right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic.